What happens when you get told no? On this episode, you're going to see how Daniel was able to take a lot of doors being closed in his face and turn that into the ultimate opportunity for him to create something that he was much happier about.
This guy can't actually be giving out his phone. And he did. And I called him. He was like, Senator Richard Ojeda here. How can I help you? I was like,
when you call my cell phone, it's this phone, and I'm the one that pulls it out of my pocket, and I'm the one that answers it. 304-792-9833. If I don't feel what they are doing is going to benefit the people, they need not darken my doorstep.
Wow. I apologize, Senator. I didn't think this was real. So now that I have you on the phone, I'm doing a project. Would you be interested in chatting it out?
I remember when Daniel came into class and shared with me the list of amazing politicians who'd agreed to interview with him. He was ecstatic, and I was in fact pretty blown away too. Some of the best known politicians in the planet had agreed to sit down with him for his book. So when I invited him to my office a couple weeks later to sit down and say, tell me how the interviews went, I got a slightly different answer, and that was that every single one of them had canceled on him. They'd realized that he wasn't a big enough name or something about his story wasn't resonating. Now, Daniel was originally pretty disheartened, but he stepped back and thought, let me see if I can figure out where to take this. And he realized that part of the thing that was frustrating to him, being told no by some of the established people, may have been the opportunity he was looking for. And instead of being frustrated, he took it and said, who are people that I can be inspired by? And he went out and interviewed some of the best and brightest up-and-coming politicians, and that was where he found his inspiration. In fact, by being told no and being able to look to see what he needed to find his next path and his next inspiration, he took it from something that was interesting to something that for him was transformative. And that's why sometimes being told no or being a change of plans can actually be a good thing. If you're able to reflect on what you're seeing, continue to evolve to find where you're inspired to go next, and turn that no into the next big yes.
So you've sort of flipped now to where you were pretty depressed, not depressed, but sort of like disillusioned, right?
There was nobody really willing to pick up the phone.
Yeah, well, even all the people that you were talking to, they were like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Even if they said like, yeah, I'll talk to you, they pass. And then you sort of went in to say like, well, let's see if there's a new generation, and is there hope?
And this guy, Richard Ojeda.
So JFK with tattoos and a bench press.
And that was how I found him. My roommate, Andrew, sent me a message over Facebook saying he's going to get a shout out in the book because this is how it happened.
This happened.
He sent me a message saying, you should check out this guy. He seems cool. Like, okay. So I click on the article, I skim it, reading through, and I was like, as I do with everyone that I'm looking up, I was like, okay, let's see what their campaign information looks like. So I just go on YouTube, I type his name, and I find his campaign video, because he is now running for the 3rd Congressional District in West Virginia, trying to replace the current incumbent who's trying to oust Senator Joe Manchin in West Virginia.
And when you called him, he actually, because I remember the other thing, he puts like his phone number.
At the end of the thing, he's like, when you call my phone,
it rings to me.
Let's see if this is real. Now, to preface this, most of my interviews, like the shortest interviews I have are about 15 to 20 minutes. The most high-ranking person I've chatted with was Congressman Joe Kennedy III.
Thank you.
Which he took time out of his day to just have a quick conversation with me. It was fantastic. And the longest one I'd had up until this point was about 50 minutes. I ended up staying there until about 10 p.m. So it was about 3 hours of just chatting. Everyone I've talked to is amazing. They're amazing in their own ways. They're all fascinating people. They all have great stories. But there's no one that I've spoken to that I felt was more honest with who they were, and genuine, and a feeling of passion that was just unparalleled.
Right.
And this guy, like, he is not Harvard educated. He doesn't come from an Ivy League. He's a military man that he got through the GI Bill. He got some college degrees. He's like educated himself. He comes from an area where he told me that his options were to do drugs, to go into coal mines, or to go into the military. And he went the military route. And his whole thing was that he was trying to find a better world for himself and make a better world for him and his family. In talking to him, I told him, I was like, listen, I got into this because Bobby Kennedy was my hero, and you are like him in so many, like, you were so different in so many ways.
Sure.
Like, you do not have the wealth of the Kennedys,
That's
just
right.
that fortune, but you have a lot of the passion and the willingness to fight for what you think. Like, things that we didn't talk about, just a quick, like the teacher strike that occurred in West Virginia.
That's right.
He got up and he said he was going to say the S word in session and talk about why the teachers, like, a strike would be basically, like, he doesn't get credit for it, but it was like he lit the match that made everyone's like, oh, we're going to have people that support us. This guy got medical marijuana passed in 3 months.
Wow.
In 3 months.
That doesn't happen
like,
to any, though.
yeah, and and that happened because somebody came into his office on his second day. He got inaugurated, he got sworn in day 1. Day 2, a constituent visits him talking about how, like, he had testicular cancer and medical cannabis saved his life because he was able to take the treatment that he needed. And that's when he was like, okay, we're gonna get it. He did some research on, like, how it could help veterans one, and he was like, we're gonna get it passed.
I love it.
And yeah, no, he is fascinating.
Giving you hope.
Yeah.
You know, in some ways, I think it's an interesting thing, like, right? Like, you sort of were a little disillusioned, a lot disillusioned, and then now sort of re-engaged in hopeful.
Yeah.
And I think it probably wouldn't have happened had you not sort of gone through this. I love it, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome.